Hey, what's going on, yo? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. So everyone had a happy Juneteenth. As you can see, I'm a little live here on vacation. You may hear some children chattering in the background. I'm poolside at the house. Bit of a rainy day, so no beach yet today. Gonna do a little movie thing. Very excited though to have to be back here another day. As always, joined by QB1 Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, dude?
What's up? Jealous of you, and I don't know about tonight, T. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit nervous for your Tigers. I know you've been talking a lot of trash past month or so when it comes to this LSU Tennessee. I think you're going to be eating your words tonight, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, we also
Yeah.
have a man who used to eat a lot, doesn't look like he eats as a lot anymore, and that's the Peloton master himself, Cole Cubelic. You all know him with Greg McElroy, Mac and Cube, but also check out the Cube Show at Cube Show 61 on YouTube, anywhere where you get podcasts. Fantastic podcast, Cube Show. Cole, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? How you doing today?
You're like the yoga master, 220 pounds. You're talking about how I don't eat food anymore?
No, bro. Look. I mean, I meant that, and I did not. I don't, to be clear, I'm not talking about shaming. No. I think
Oh, I know.
good. You look great, dude. And
Thanks, but
you're
it's,
top 10 personality on Big Game Boomer's top 100 list.
I feel like I was still low, but it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
hell yeah.
Hey, Cole, why did T-Bob get left off? Though I think T-Bob definitely deserves a spot. You had some
Who was
way
his
of
LSU
communicating with
choice? Was it
Boomer?
Hester? Did he go Hester for? He
Yeah,
usually
Hester
tries to
was
go
like
by
top
school.
30.
Esther Spears. I'm sure Ryan Clark's on there somewhere. There's a lot of LSU on there. There's
They don't really even talk about college football anymore. So I'm going to give Hester the lean over you, just because I feel like he buttons his shirt. But other than that,
guess what? I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Big Game Boomer on my radio show. Okay, eat my ass, and that goes for Tennessee as well. And it goes for you, Aaron Murray, okay? Because as I told you earlier, I was out there taking a walk on the beach, stormy skies, big waves, and I'm looking at this ocean. It looks incredibly intimidating. But you know what it showed me? Nobody ever did anything worthwhile by being scared, okay? So I ain't scared. If you're scared, go to church. Buy a dog. I ain't scared of Tennessee, Tony Vitello, Drew Beam. We're about to beat that Volunteer ass tonight, and LSU will survive in advance, okay? That's what's going to happen here, Aaron Murray. I'm sorry, this is not an LSU baseball show.
No, it's funny. I thought we were talking about Big Game Boomer list, and you went right back into College World Series. It's a great transition on your part.
My brain is firing all over the place. There's a lot of emotions going on right now. Anger. We've been in the house because the rain all day. But I did. Hey, but you want to talk about good omen? Thought I lost my phone. Found my phone, boys. But all right, let's get into it, Cole. Because why else the vibes are super high right now is we're close to football, boys. Couple months away. And let's start with the big one, a debate we've had on this show. Should the LSU Tigers actually be the favorite to win the West this year?
Yes, in my opinion, I think they should. Number one, they're the defending division champions. They won the West a year ago. You get a returning quarterback. You had to shuffle the cards on that offensive line for the first, 4 or 5 games of the year last year. Now you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be. I think you have some real depth at that position now. You brought a couple of transfers in that aren't really going to be expected to start, but can give you bodies if you did lose somebody again. You have 2 tackles returning, which not a lot of teams can say. Solid tight end. I think neck and neck with Ohio State, best receiving core in college football, if you're talking just wide receivers. The only real concern I have, and this is really weird, for LSU offensively is running back. And we're just used to like the next dude after the next dude after the next dude, be it, Kevin Falk, Cecil Collins, Leonard Fournette, whoever it is. It just, there seems to always be a guy. And it's not that it's bad. It's not that it's going to cost them games. It's just not super dynamic like we've always been used to. And then defensively, I think you have the best defensive player in the SEC in Harold Perkins. No one, and I mean nobody. There's a lot of things in college football that people aren't talking about right now. No one's talking about Mason Smith. Nobody. Yeah, it's like people don't even know the kid existed. And I know he got hurt in the first game, but I can remember when he got on campus talking to Coach O about him, and he's like, Cole, that kid could play DN for us. I'm like, he's 6'6", like 320. And he's like, I'm telling you, he's flexible enough, loose enough, athletic enough. So Mekhi Wingo was one of the most underrated players in the league last year. Mason Smith will be next to him. Are they as good off the edge as they have been? Maybe not, but man, you got a lot coming back on that defense. And I think Matt House is exceptional. And he'll have a lot more ways to sort of tinker with his bodies on that side of the football. So, yeah, I think based on what you have in a starting quarterback returning, the weapons he's got, the familiarity. I mean, that's the other part. We talked about the offensive line developing. I mean, it took them 3-4 games to figure out how to make Jaden Daniels comfortable and give him the best chance to succeed. Like, I had a really cool conversation with Jack Marucci when we had the Southern game, and he said they did some kind of a study in his completion percentage when the ball was snapped before 19 seconds on the play clock and after 19 seconds. And it went from like 78 to 42. He's like, so obviously the kid likes to go fast. So you know what? We're going to go faster at times and try to make him more successful. He wants to run the ball. Why let him scramble? Let's design some of these runs for him where it can be even bigger plays. So now they all know exactly what they are, and they can sort of build things to a different extent.
Ooh, clip that.
I'm gonna take Ty Buckner out of this conversation just because I think we kind of know what he is and what he could be at Alabama, because we kind of saw that obviously last year at Notre Dame. So I'm gonna say Ty Simpson is the starting quarterback. Ty Simpson gets a starting job at Alabama. He's the guy. If he turns out to be a guy that is a 25 to 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, like a really, really good quarterback in this league, does that change the narrative of all of what that game's going to look like in Tuscaloosa?
First off, let's go back to losing weight here for a second. Did you just go in on the hair, or have you actually lost a bunch of it? Because we're not doing our show in the afternoon anymore, so I haven't seen you in like 2 months. And I can't tell if I can't tell if you went in or if your face is just skinnier. I honestly don't know the difference.
2 for 1. It's like a little double fisting, T-Bob.
How do you have 15 pounds to lose, Aaron? What? How'd you lose?
There's always 15 pounds to lose, T-Bob. So I lost 15. I got a little high and tight Peaky Blinders haircut too. So you do both and you're feeling nice and slim.
Look at Aaron and his old man and his son, their Father's Day picture, the most impeccable hair I have my entire life. Aaron's old man has just this like beautiful full head of like perfectly gray, well manicured hair. Not like a light, very thick looking still. Just fantastic job by the Murray household on the follicle front.
Great hair. What sucks about that is my dad also has great hair. But I guess they say that skips a generation.
No, it's from your mom. I thought it's from if your mom's dad, your grandfather on that side has hair or good hair, you're gonna have good hair.
It could be it. That could be. I was trying to see if I had like a picture real fast I could flash up and show you guys, but I'm not able to get to it. So I think no matter who it is, Aaron, if Alabama has, let's just say 25-5 and nearing 70% completed, they're going to be just fine. Because I think what we forget about with Alabama, and like T-Bob mentioned my podcast this past Sunday, I did best player at each position in the SEC. And I think a lot of people, not you guys, because you guys are sort of in the footprint, you get it. Like T-Bob's done his whole Star Wars Alabama thing. Everybody knows how he feels. Like Aaron covers the SEC every day. Like, Alabama, and obviously we've had a lot of Georgia-Bama games. But I think outside of our footprint, if they went through my list and said, wow, you had like 4 or 5 guys that are the best player at their positions from Alabama, they would be really surprised by that. Whereas, we know they're still going to be really good in a lot of spots, but there's so many people nationally that are saying, no, they can't get it done, or it's going to be a 9-win football team. Like, this is Saban's least talented roster. Like, they still have the best edge defender in the league. They still have maybe the best interior defensive lineman in the league. And then I think they have a couple other positions. They have the best corner in the league. And I think there are a couple other positions that could elevate and maybe be the best. But like, I think they have the best guard in Taylor Booker and 52. I think he's the best offensive guard in the league. So I don't think a lot of people realize how talented the roster really is. So if you get a quarterback that's above average, collectively, that group of running backs, collectively, that group of wide receivers, collectively, that group of tight ends, along with they have defensively, they're going to be fine. And I think Nick Saban is actually looking forward to having a team that's not as reliant on individuals. Like, that's been a quarterback-laden team the last couple. They've gone as far as their quarterback went. They've had a guy or two on defense that has pretty much dictated, are they dominant? Are they not dominant? And so I think maybe getting back to playing a little more team ball on both sides of the ball, he's probably excited about that, happy about that. And if they get above average quarterback play, and listen, I don't use this in a negative connotation, managing the game, operating the offense successfully, those things are actually very positive correlations for me. If they get that, they're still going to be pretty damn good.
Well, I'm not asking pretty damn good or not. I'm more asking the sense of, because I think they're going to be pretty damn good regardless of if he's a guy or not a guy. But in the sense of, I think all three of us believe LSU is the team to beat in the West this year, but good enough to beat LSU. Like, that's the question. Like, can they get to Atlanta if he's good enough, or is LSU starters just better than Alabama starters this season?
I don't think top to bottom they are, but the reason that even if their quarterback play is just above average, they can still beat LSU is they have takeover guys. Like Jaheim Otis can take over a game. Like Dallas Turner can take over a game. I think they will have a running back separate that'll be able to take over a game. They have different receivers that could at certain points in time. Their offensive line might be one. It's going to be better this year. Or can that be a dominant group that can just go out and take over a game? So I still think they have. Listen, for me, when you have teams that the talent is about even all the way down, yeah, there's going to be certain positions. Like, do you have an elite pass rusher? Do you have an elite quarterback? Do you have a receiver that can't be stopped? All those things. It comes down to like how many guys you have that can go take over that game. Now, LSU's got them because we know Harold Perkins basically won the Arkansas game by himself last year. I mean, their receivers, Malik Neighbors, can go take over a game at any point in time. So I wouldn't count Alabama out as being able to go win that game against LSU or still win the West, because they're still going to have guys that can go out and single-handedly win games.
Hello there, fellow homeowner. I've got some very exciting news for you, okay? Angie's List is now just Angie, but it's still your home for everything home. Look, I've been in my house for about 5 years now, and I absolutely love it. I don't want to go anywhere, but it's an older house stuff. So I had to get like the siding redone. I had to get the stucco redone. And although I may look like the epitome of a handy man, it may shock you, dear viewer, but I am indeed not handy. In fact, I don't know what the heck's going on with any of this stuff. So you know what I do? I get out my Angie app, and in just a few simple tippity taps, I have access to over 220,000 professionals from which to choose. What I love is, look, I live in Baton Rouge, right? And so it's all locally based. And I can actually look at the reviews of what other people in my area, who they've used. And so what I do, I got on my Angie app, I got my jobs lined up. I don't lift a finger, and the siding looks incredible, y'all. I basically live in my backyard now, and that's thanks to Angie. So what are you waiting for? Download the Angie app today, ANGI, or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. Angie, your home for everything home.
Cole,
Look, just a couple of O-linemen. Look, we know Aaron doesn't know anything about offensive line play. Okay, it's unbelievable having to listen to him every week. Wait, hold on, girls, shh, just cool down. What do y'all think? Is there an offensive line, Cole, that makes a team, like in the SEC right now, is there no line that makes a team just significantly better or like more relevant than they should be? Maybe a bit of a dark horse line, somebody you're not thinking of that you're like, hey, watch out for this group now. By the end of the year, you might be worried about playing them.
Maybe Ole Miss.
Okay.
ooh,
Because I think they have a potential first-round tackle. They got a 3-year starter at center, and they got 4 guys that have played a ton of football. Now, I will also say that is aided by, if Michael Trigg is healthy finally at tight end, and he's sort of gotten his act together and actually loves football, which doesn't happen overnight. But this kid, Caden Priestcorn, that they got from Memphis, he's a dude. Like, he's an MFer. He adds some physicality to that offense, and that the tight end is very important in that offense. So by having 2 tight ends that they're going to be able to move around, play with, tinker with, formation, motion shift, whatever, I think that'll give them an advantage. First off, and you know this, T-Bob, like they have the best running back in college football, in my opinion. So they're going to look better than they are no matter what. Like people are going to be like, man, that Ole Miss offensive line killing people. It's like, well, the running back's just really good. But I mean, it's like a couple of years ago, Florida, after 3 weeks, when they had a running quarterback, was like, we got the best all in college football. We're averaging 300 yards rushing a game. It's like, actually, guys haven't blocked anybody. It's just the kid makes people miss and goes for 70 yards. So, but that's one that I would look at and say, if they actually exceed expectations a little bit, because of what they've done in the portal at wide receiver, like the kid they got from La Tech's going to be really good. And they got a big time receiver from UTSA. So that answers a lot of those questions. If the O-line gets going, And actually, it's the other side for them that's going to be really cool to watch. I think they are going to be more different on the interior of their defensive line as maybe they've ever been. And I mean that. I know they've had Kimdichie and they've had some I know they had Benito Jones, but they have the kid they got from NC State can really play. And then you get maybe the best edge defender in the portal, the kid from JMU. And you've got a couple of guys coming back inside. Like they're different, man. Like they haven't had big, heavy, wide, thick bodies that can strike and shed in a long time. And now they got a couple of those guys. So if Pete Golding makes the defense a little bit better and that offensive line gets going, that's one that I think could maybe make them different than what people think right now.
Just to stay on the offensive line, since T-Bob doesn't think I know anything about offensive line, Kentucky offensive line obviously took a massive step back last year. I mean, that's a team that has been built on consistently, especially in the trenches and not old school football, but a little bit more ground and pound, eat at the clock, wear teams out a little bit, protect the football, all that good stuff. They weren't that last year, and it kind of started with initially that offensive line. They got to get better at the receiving position. You know, we'll see what O'Leary looks like at quarterback, but when it comes to the way that Mark wants to win football games there at Kentucky, like I said, it kind of feels to me like offensive line is the key to that success. What are they going to be like this year in the trenches and as a football team as a whole? Because I kind of feel like Kentucky right now is an interesting spot where you add Texas and Oklahoma next year. They've built up all this credibility in the SEC. Average year last year. If they have another average year this year, I think they kind of essentially just disappear almost.
I think that's the biggest question mark for them, Aaron. And I think it could be the difference between 3 games in the win or loss column. I really do. Because first off, Coach Stoops is not going to get away from their blueprint. Like that's the foundation of what they've been. They've been a physical, like I've said about them so many times the last couple of years, like that team might be more talented, but the Kentucky group is the one I'd least like to fight in a back alley. Like they just heavy-handed, physicality, play to the whistle, not quite as twitchy, not quite as fast, not as sleek and athletic, but just you probably they'd be a bigger headache to go up against most years. And that's their O-line and their D-line. They have the best receiving core, I think, that Kentucky's ever had in the history of the program. Dane Key can go. Barryon Brown can go. Tavion Robinson wasn't as good as we thought he was going to be last year, but if he has some kind of a bounce-back year, like they're going to be 3 wide with legit SEC wide receivers. They've never had that before. And don't forget about Ray Davis, who was really good at Vanderbilt last year. I thought he was the most underrated back in the league. They just got to get part of it figured out. The Marquez Cox kid coming in from Northern Illinois, I've studied him. He's a pretty good player. I don't see him as a dominant SEC player. Jagger Burton's going to go back down to center. Eli Cox will go to guard. I think that's more natural for both of those guys. They've got to find a right tackle. They don't have one right now. So number one, got to stay healthy because they don't have the depth. They just don't. They took a couple of kids that can help with depth, but I don't think they're starters. But if that group does figure it out, Aaron, I think Kentucky's dangerous because J.J. Weaver is really good off the edge. I think Trevin Wallace can be really good off the ball at linebacker, and Brad White is way underrated as a D coordinator, vastly underrated. They can be a really good football team, but that O-line's got to be like B+ for that to happen. But also keep in mind here, so you bring Liam Cohen back, and he's going to live and die on the stretch play. Like they'll build everything off the stretch play. So as T-Bob can attest, you don't have to be a just road grader. You don't have to be Alan Faneca or Quentin Nelson to be good running the stretch play. Like you got to know your steps, your fundamentals. You got to play to the whistle.
Those old Broncos O lines with Alex Gibbs when they won the Super Bowl. They had a guy over 300 pounds.
So
Super Bowls.
If they have a good feel for that, then that can help them out a lot. That's going to give Larry a chance to run some heavy bootlegs, play action, take some shots up top. And I don't think SEC fans realize how good of a quarterback he is. And when he's healthy, and that's another part of the O-line, got to keep him healthy to have some success. So I think a good, healthy Kentucky offensive line, 9 wins. Last year, Kentucky O-line, 6 wins. I think that's how much difference it's going to make for that football team this year.
Cole, let's talk Auburn. We see the 2 Auburn jerseys behind you, and I don't really care about like this year or names. I'm more wondering about the kind of general belief in Hugh Freeze because I'm coming around, man. It feels like the right fit. We all know how talented Freeze is. It feels like he's done a good job of kind of rallying the boosters and recruiting. Like, what's the overall feel, and how are you feeling about the long-term potential of Hugh Freeze's Auburn?
Well, no, what you just said, T-Bob, is probably what people should pay the most attention to, but you kind of can't. There's no way to really validate it a lot of times. There's more alignment inside the Auburn athletic department right now than honestly I can ever remember. And keep in mind, I was playing when Terry Bowden got fired. I was playing when Tuberville was there. I've always followed the program, but Malzahn comes in and there's the contract extension by one faction of the boosters. The others apparently didn't want it. Tuberville, I mean, obviously Jetgate, they tried to run him. He comes back, beats Alabama. I mean, it's like back and forth, back and forth. But I think the top of the totem pole from a booster perspective wanted Freeze. They got their guy. Well, the people who were running the collective got their act together. They're happy with Freeze. So now that thing is behind him, aiding with getting guys from the portal recruits and keeping kids happy, whatever that is. So, and then now they're going out, they're getting kids in that they've never gotten in before as far as caliber players. He's got a linebacker from Tuskegee that Georgia was legitimately on. Bama was legitimately on. It's like Bud Elliott told me the night I was talking to him. He's like, you see a lot of these things where the hats are out and you might have LSU, Texas, and Georgia and Bama, but like really the other hat that they chose was for a reason. They were considering those, but those schools might not have been considering them. Like this kid was different. He really was being considered by those schools. And you look what he did in the portal, man. He went out and got the best quarterback on the roster, the best tight end on the roster, the two best tackles on the roster, the best center on the roster, the best interior D lineman on the roster, the best edge rusher on the roster, the two best receivers on the roster, and the two best linebackers on the roster. Like half of the starters this year are going to be guys they got in the portal.
That's crazy. Very Brian Kelly-like from last year.
It's a little bit of an indictment on what was happening before, but when you roll that into the high school recruiting success it looks like they're having, there's a lot to be excited about. And that alignment is key because they have everything in place to be able to now just sell Auburn and sell the SEC and sell some real playing time to be able to come in and make a go of it. So that's the first hurdle. The next hurdle is organizing all of it and then motivating all of it to go actually play in games. And as we all know, you got to be organized, on the same page, and you got to be motivated to win football games. So there are two massive hurdles in front of him, but I do think that he's crossed the first one with flying colors.
Aaron, I think you
muted. I did mute myself. You both have kids talk in the background. I got a dog barking at an insurance guy taking pictures inside the house. So had to mute for a quick second there. Big scenario here. 2024, we go ahead next year, 12-team playoff. SEC has 8 SEC games. Say that doesn't change or no discussions really move the needle just yet. SEC puts 4 teams in the playoffs year one with that amazing 8-game schedule. I don't think anyone was really complaining once that schedule actually came out and we got to kind of really feel and touch and see what it would look like with Texas, Oklahoma involved. 4 teams in. ESPN does not come back with any more money for a 9th game. Does the SEC change in 2025?
Not if there's no more money. No, I don't think so. I mean, my opinion is just that, and this was before we knew we were going to 8, is that Greg Sankey had that one, ace in his sleeve. Like he had one trump card to be able to play when it comes to really elevating the ability to go generate more revenue. And that is saying, hey, guess what? I can change our inventory by adding an extra conference game. And that's going to give you X amount of better games that more people are going to care about, more people want to watch, have more playoff implications, and you're going to have those available to you on your network. Why you would offer that up for nothing extra, I not only do I not know, I wouldn't. Nobody would. So I do think something gets done and it gets to 9 and 25. But if the television networks did say, no, we just can't do it, we're not going to do it, I think you save that. I think you hold it and you say, if we want the next deal to be bigger and better, and we want to be able to generate more down the road, we have to save this for the next time that we negotiate. And then that's our ultimate negotiating ploy, is that we'll ramp it up. We'll go to 9 games. You'll have this much more inventory, and therefore it all makes sense. And you will get that check somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. I feel like a lot of my arguments I was making are just sound stupid now. Cole Cubelic, Cube Show, at Cube Show 61 on YouTube. Go check it out. Like, subscribe to the channel. Also, youtube.com/@volumesnaps while you're there, dude. You can do both. Also, wherever you get podcasts about Hey, mermaids. Hold on, girls. I got a couple of mermaids here. All right, we got to go. Cole, thank you so much,
Hold on,
man.
I got one more before we get out of here. Can I get one more thing in real quick?
Yeah, what we got?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever asked this, T-Bob, but I got to ask Murray because you and I didn't have this. We didn't do this stuff on our helmets.
Okay.
I've always wondered, like, how the fuck do you get one of those bones on your helmet? Because you guys have like 7,000 of those bones.
You breathe. You just breathe.
Do you get one of those for showing up to practice every day?
Look
Like, if
at
you wear
that.
your uniform at
I
practice,
had a lot. That is
bone.
hard work right there,
Is that a
boys. A
complete
lot of
pass?
touchdowns.
What's a black bone
Oh,
for?
no, Cole.
I don't know
It's
what.
a
Honestly, I don't
successful-
remember what the black
No,
bone is.
Cole,
Maybe the
Cole,
black bone's
it's-
for the win.
It's a successful CQ exchange. Every successful CQ exchange, you get a dog bone for the helmet.
Aaron, give us something. Like, how do you throw a touchdown pass?
Touchdowns.
Like,
You get touchdowns. Every position's different. So I think for quarterbacks, the get a bone was touchdown. If you hit a certain completion percentage, you got a bone. If you got like for every maybe 50 yards, you got a bone, or maybe it was 100 yards, you got a bone. Obviously, you would lose a bone for turnovers, interceptions. Bobo, if he was just mad at me, would take a bone away too. So that's kind of how it worked for the quarterbacks. Running backs would be like touchdown, offensive line, no sacks given up, stuff like that. If you got a 100-yard rusher, offensive lineman get a bone. That's
there's
every
not
position is
stupid
different.
stuff like GPA in there where you get a bone for, is there? Like,
No. I do think that if you get, it's like, I think Rick would every now and then be like,
We don't
so
allow
and so
for
got an A and a
academic
10,
bones.
so we'll get a
All
bone.
academic bones play. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on.
okay.
What
Biggest NIL deal of the week is going to get a bone, I'm sure, nowadays.
Yeah. Throw a dog a bone.
Bone.
I mean, I used to think helmet stickers were so cool when I was like 9 years old, dude. I thought they
Are
were.
you kidding? The Ohio State, like having half your helmet covered.
Yeah.
It was just like, and then like you would watch Georgia play, and Pollock had literally half, and like then 3/4 of the other side, and all the other guys on defense had like half of what Murray has. And you're like, man, does anybody else make a play? I mean,
Aaron got
that's intimidating as hell. You come on the field and you see Pollock with half his helmet filled with bones. Like, that is a badass.
okay.
Yes.
That is kind of true. It's like an ancient tribal. Yeah, it's like an ancient way of like you step on the battlefield. You may not know anything about this guy, but you immediately know, oh crap, like
he's done something.
yeah,
Like, you know that. Like when you lined up across from like Andre Wadsworth, and he had like half his helmet of tomahawks, or like the whole front was tomahawks. You're just like, this dude's hit some quarterbacks. Like, we better cut him on the first play.
Yeah, it's like it's like plumage. It's like Spartan plumage back in the helmet. Just an intimidation factor. Hey, Cole, we got to go, but I want you to join me on this. Think about it though. Don't answer now. Georgia will not win 3 national championships in a row. Okay, we have not seen it since 1930s Minnesota for a reason. Don't respond now. Just chew on it, okay? Just chew on it and come back to me. Georgia will not win 3 natties in a row. Cole Cubelic, Cube Show, wherever podcasts are. Cole, thank you so much, man. This was awesome.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah, man. Aaron, you take it easy, and I'll see you on the other side of an LSU Tiger win, okay, over Tennessee. And a huge thank you to the Volume for putting on the show. Huge thank you to Ryan Brumley, Paul Farrington, Pat Gunner, Adam Gracia, Danny Cardenas, and a huge thank you to everybody who listens, shares, continue to help us grow the show every day. We love you. And we'll see you for more snaps tomorrow.